But I want to start tonight with the historic unpopularity of this absolutely vile bill, because it reminds me a lot of what the midterm elections looked like the last time Donald Trump was president.
When D.C. politicians voted to gut health care for people with pre-existing conditions, I decided to run for Congress myself.
When I saw Congressman Bishop smiling at the White House after voting to gut protections for pre-existing conditions, something inside me broke.
Like Dean Heller, who promised to vote against the plan to repeal Obamacare because it would hurt Nevada. But when President Trump put the pressure on...
You weren't there, but you're gonna be there.
Dean Heller got back in line.
Now the threat is Patrick Morrisey's lawsuit to take away health care from people with pre-existing conditions. For me, it's all about West Virginia.
Don't mind the gunshot there. Every Democrat you just saw either flipped a Republican-held seat or, like Joe Manchin, held onto one in deep red territory. Kim Schreier won an open race to replace Republican David Schweikert in Washington's 8th District. Alyssa Slotkin defeated Republican Mike Bishop to win Michigan's 8th District, before, of course, going on to win a Senate seat late last year. Jackie Rosen defeated Republican Senator Dean Heller to claim the Nevada seat she still holds. And Joe Manchin defended his Senate seat in West Virginia, a state I would note Donald Trump had won by 42 points 2 years earlier. And they all did it with a version of the same message. Republicans want to take away your health care. They do not want your health care to be protected if you or a loved one has pre-existing conditions. That was a big part of a lot of the messaging. And that message ended up being part of more than half of the ads supporting Democratic candidates during the pivotal final 2 months of the 2018 election. And for good reason. It worked. I mean, it helped Democrats win back 41 seats in the House and flip 2 Republican-controlled Senate seats. Nancy Pelosi became Speaker of the House again, and Donald Trump lost his total control over both houses of Congress. And now, as we stare down the barrel of another effort by Republicans to take away health care from millions of Americans, history may repeat itself, and then some, really, because this time it is much worse. I mean, back in 2018, Republicans actually failed in their efforts to strip health care away from millions of Americans. They failed. Trump's disastrous Obamacare repeal fell 1 vote short in the Senate, thanks to the late Senator John McCain. And so they were forced to resort to frivolous lawsuits that really never went anywhere. But that was what a lot of the debates and a lot of the conversations and ads were about during that campaign. And this time around, they're actually poised to take health care away from millions of Americans. Trump's big ugly bill would result in nearly 12 million people losing Medicaid coverage, and another 4.2 million people would lose health care because of cuts to the Affordable Care Act. And in addition to being remarkably cruel, it could also spell disaster for Republicans politically. I mean, a recent Kaiser Family Foundation poll found that 83% of people approve of Medicaid. 83%. 83% of people barely agree on anything. As Paul Krugman pointed out this week, that is literally more popular than apple pie, just to give you a sense. And this isn't even a partisan thing either. I mean, a whopping 74% of Republicans say they have a favorable view of Medicaid. That's probably why Republican lawmakers don't seem especially thrilled right now. Even as they are on the verge, maybe, we'll see, there's still time, of passing their first major piece of legislation since Trump took office. Kind of feels like their hearts aren't in it. I mean, just listen to how defensive Congressman Derek Van Orden sounded today when asked if they feel pressure from Trump to vote for this bill.
But for you, I mean, Trump is sort of the deciding factor here. You guys in this
leader? No, I'm not going to allow you to get away with that. The President of the United States didn't give us an assignment. It's not a bunch of little bitches over here. Okay? I'm a member of Congress that represent almost 800,000 Wisconsinites. Is that clear?
I mean, listen. When you're proclaiming out loud that you're, in fact, not someone's little bitch, well, kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? But it's been like this all day, and he's not the only one who's as defensive and testy as that. I mean, this morning, Democrats showed up in big numbers to speak out against the bill on the House floor. Many Democrats showed up, but far fewer Republicans showed up to speak in favor of it. And that led to some pretty awkward moments.
If I can inquire of the general lady, if she doesn't have many speakers, maybe she can lend us some time because we have a ton.
Nice try, Mr. McGovern.
in Congress, we can measure how much people really believe in their position by whether they're willing to come and join their leaders on the House floor. Well, I count 4 members on the Republican side, and we've got over 75 over here. But if I were them, I wouldn't want to be associated with this bill either.
We love a spicy Jim McGovern. Even the few Republicans who did show up didn't seem like they were quite on the same page. Like Republican Congressman Troy Nehls, who used his time wisely to, of course, complain about his Republican colleagues in the Senate.
I was proud to introduce the Endowment Tax Fairness Act. The Senate gutted this provision and reduced it to under $1 billion annually to protect elite universities.
The Senate, again, controlled by Republicans, so the Republican Senate. Not exactly a message. If there even is a message, who knows? Then there was Congressman Joe Wilson, who used his time to ramble about stuff from Trump's first term that had literally nothing to do with this bill at all.
I led the delegation to move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. He did that. People said you shouldn't do it, the State Department, because it leads to dislocation. No, it led to the embassy being in Jerusalem. I just appreciate Donald Trump. Promises made, promises kept. Thank you. I yield back.
I mean, what are we even talking about here? Even the Republicans who tried to speak in favor of this bill at times seemed woefully unprepared, is the only way to describe it.
The first would be President John Fitzgerald Kennedy, who realized, getting the appropriate quote, who realized the negative impacts of high tax rates. Indeed, roughly 60 years ago, President Kennedy warned, I have a constituent.
I mean, Republicans just cannot figure out how to defend this bill because it's indefensible, which is not funny at all. Just their response is funny. And I guess spending your time incoherently musing about JFK or talking about your role in moving an embassy or even attacking the Senate is better than trying to come up with positive spin about this bill. And while they may end up celebrating its passage if it happens overnight, and again, we will see, they're probably going to regret it in 2026, or that's my bet.